What's up, guys? It's dronethrust.com, and I have a question for you. Should Donald Trump save DJI? I mean, it really seems to me like it's impossible to purchase. Yeah, actually, I don't know if I'm going to activate this by talking. So let me. I want to not say the D word because I don't want this drone to start flying. So yes, we are going to talk about drones today. I am very curious as to, your opinion. Should the DJI drone ban, be enacted? For small time content creators like me, it's highly unbeneficial to have protectionism. I am furious over the tariffs. I hope you are furious over the tariffs also. It's ridiculous that in this day and age, we have to spend money to purchase the only product that we could shoot with, essentially. I mean, it's clear to me that DJI makes the best drones. I would really, like it if some of you guys would write to Congress and explain to the Congress why they should strike down the DJI drone ban. They should also end the Chinese tariffs. I do not believe that Americans need to spend an extra 10% to get a drone. I spent $700 to get this drone. That is enough. It's obvious that no American company has the intellectual wherewithal to create drones that are on par with DJI, unfortunately, for the price. If I were going to, purchase a drone from Skydio like this, it would cost me like $10,000 at least. Yes, DJI is. I think it's part of the Chinese military. Honestly, there might be some truth to there being national security reasons why the United States bans DJI drones. Some conspiracy theorists floated the idea like that this mic and drone send information to Chinese satellites. I guess the question I have is if DJI is using their drones to spy on our neighborhoods, what are they learning? You can definitely get information from about our rooftops from Google Maps. It's easy to find the type of information that China would acquire with the drone on the publicly available internet. I believe that, you know, a DJI ban will hurt small time content creators like me. Now, I don't have a monetized account. I'm the smallest of small time content creators. When Trump's for Trump to put tariffs on excessive tariffs and bans on all DJI equipment, what that does, for me is it drives up my cost of production, to the point where I can't really stay in business as a content creator. I mean, luckily I have enough shooting, equipment to, be able to create content, high quality videos for like the next, you know, few years. But with the Trumpian tariffs and the DJI ban, I think it's going to be like probably like 7 years until an American drone company comes out. Like that would be like Tesla. I mean, we would need for Apple and Tesla to go into DJI's industries, and create competitive products. I think that that is not going to happen. I do not believe that, I don't think that Apple and, Tesla want to create high-end cameras for small-time content creators like me that are manufactured in America. I believe that if Americans were to try to manufacture, a high-end camera like this, or a high-end, a low-end drone like this, they would just cost 10 times as much, and the company wouldn't stay in business because of the fact that they would, not be profitable. I mean, they would probably sell this camera for $1,000, but it would cost like 1,500 to produce. With the ridiculous wages that uh, the Democrats insist on. The biggest problem for small content creators, in America, I believe is going to be, tariffs in the future. We, uh, have an immense political movement in America towards economic populism. I think populism is an intellectual fallacy. I admit that there are problems with trading with China. I mean, China is funding Russia's genocide in Ukraine, and they're committing a genocide against Uyghur Muslims in their own provinces. I think actually that Chinese communism is evil, but I don't see a point in not trading with them, because refusing to trade with them is not going to topple their regime. I mean, I guess I understand the complexities. I think I understand the complexities of trading with China. There are moral issues. China uses their drones to spy on minorities and repress them. I don't agree with their government at all. I think, their government is actually evil, but I do not believe in tariffs. No, I don't. First of all, the economy has been seeing declining numbers if you look at the jobs creation rate. Um, I don't think that the way to create jobs is to try to have a manufacturing facility, in America where people work on an assembly line, and try to build things like these. All right. So you on the good side? Oh yeah, I'm on the good side. I'm always good. I'm perfectly happy. I like to talk, on my YouTube channels. I like to talk about controversial things. So yeah, I talk about, on this channel, I want to do more drone content, and I want to do more stuff with my DJI equipment while I still can. I realize that, I need to produce more drone videos. But it's getting difficult to do that, because of Trump's tariffs. Now, DJI is releasing an update with this camera to their DJ Osmo Pocket, uh, and it's going to have two different cameras. I see. Um, I had a problem with this camera. It overheated once. I had to use the care refresh because the swivel screen uh, broke, and yeah, DJI replaced the swivel screen for for free. Um, I have care refresh with this drone, so if it flies away, DJI will replace it for free. But that's going to end in 2 years. Um, yeah, so the news with DJI is that you can't get it in Best Buy anymore. Best Buy has eliminated all of their DJI products. Um, you just can't, unfortunately get them, and I think they're being replaced with, probably American manufactured drones. I'm not familiar with the names of those companies, because I think they're not definitely not as popular as DJI, and I hope that in the future, American drone companies can produce, a high-end drone that, produces nice images and has intuitive features, such as like voice commands, like the DJIs have. But for some reason, I doubt that. I mean, I don't want to give a negative review to an American drone that I've never tested, but it seems like by the looks of the drone, by the looks of the drones I saw in the Best Buy showroom, it seems like American companies have a long way to go. You could just look at it from the outside and determine that it's not really as sophisticated as the DJI. But I'm sure that's going to change over the next decade. It's just frustrating for me as a small time creator because it jacks up the cost of my content creation, and I don't think that the tariffs are going to have the desired effect of bringing jobs overseas, bringing jobs to America from overseas. I don't think that we're going to close the foreign factories and open factories in America, thus creating a manufacturing renaissance in Texas. I just don't believe that's going to happen. So, but Trump is in trouble. He's been receiving some very bad economic news, and he better hope that the economic numbers improve. But yes, I just wanted this broadcast to be about how the why you can't get a DJI drone anymore um, in Best Buy, and I think that that is very bad. Um, so do I have more to say? Sure. Yeah, I have more to say. We're seeing also tariffs on shoes now. The cost of Nike shoes is going up. This shoe is about DJI, tariffs, Trump. I'm talking about a whole bunch of different things on this shoot. I couldn't get the right AI background, so I had to use an old image because I'm having a difficult time setting up my green screen on with YouTube. I'll have to reinstall the account. I could only put one image in the back, unfortunately. I wanted to pick a different image, but we're going to talk about how Republicans and Donald Trump put DJI out of business in America and why it's bad for small content creators. We're just not going to be able to get these high-end cameras and microphones anymore. We're not going to be able to get these things, these prosumer photographic devices, because of the fact that there are tariffs and the economic populism that has come to dominate Wall Street from Trump. Yeah, I do try to get political on all of my channels. I have no problem with telling you exactly what I think. I know a lot of other creators like Seth Fowler and Roscoe who are a lot more successful than I am, don't like to talk politics, but I do. I like to ruffle the feathers and be extremely controversial. So, yeah, we're going to talk about, why we shouldn't place tariffs on DJI equipment without having a replacement for DJI in America. Now, we do have GoPro. GoPro makes cameras, but they're almost bankrupt. If you look at GoPro's stock, you're going to see that it's below like $10 a share. And, because GoPro is below $10 a share, it doesn't seem like they're going to, have products that are able to compete against their main competitor in the US, DJI. The DJI GoPro also competes against Insta360. I've never used the GoPro. I believe that GoPro cameras probably, are for people who are much more sophisticated in their abilities as creators. I think GoPro cameras are for people who have like fancy motorcycles that they were in this. They put the GoPro on their helmet and do speeding videos on the Taconic. I'm not at that level yet. I don't have that type of funds. I've just been toying around with, posting, clickbaity videos on my YouTube channel. I want to get the drone pilot's license so I could make money, taking pictures with drones. It does infuriate me that I can't, purchase from DJI anymore, however, because, DJI always made the best equipment. And, since I mean, yeah, since Trump put the tariffs on Chinese, all imported goods, really, it does seem like that will hurt small content creators because they're going to have to purchase old equipment on eBay. No longer are small content creators going to have the ability to purchase, cheap Sony cameras that are manufactured in Japan, because of import taxes. I mean, Sony is not going to build a camera factory, in America in order to appease the labor unions and Donald Trump. That's going to make it so that, small content creators have a difficult time acquiring high-end equipment that enables them to create the absolute best videos. I think it does seem like there's plenty of options, available for small content creators. You can buy an old camera, an old refurbished one. You can get cheap. You could easily create YouTube videos with cheap cameras that are not the high end of the high end, but that's kind of boring. I mean, I would always rather use an extremely. I always like to buy equipment that is on the vanguard, on the edge of what is technologically possible. The DJI Avata to me was always a very cool drone. I didn't get it because it was too expensive and it looked dangerous to fly. But you just don't have an American company that can create an FPV drone with a headset that you could use with two different controls, and that would fly around safely. You know, I, my problem with the American drone, with American drones is that they might not even be that safe, and they definitely do not have the same equipment advantage that, as I keep saying, DJI has. It's oh, hello, Joyce Parker. Please feel free to subscribe and watch some of my videos. I know I do a lot of shorts on this channel. I do some AI content. I got to start doing more stuff, and I'm definitely willing to get political. As I say, my green screen app won't let me put anything except one image in the back, unfortunately. So you got Donald Trump in the back, I guess. And that's an image I created of him with Grok AI. It's not a real image. It's him on looking over Wall Street. And what you're going to see on this channel is that I don't like how Trump abandoned the capitalism that made America rich and is siding with more extreme liberal elements of the Democratic Party. There are going to be a lot of people who don't like my views. I'm a capitalist. I don't like high minimum wages and import taxes because I don't think those I don't think that methodology helps, the people it's intended to help. I think it just makes everybody miserable. But there's a lot of people in politics that want revenge, and for them, banning me from purchasing a DJI drone, is the only thing they could do to, you know, pass their time. That's unfortunate, I think. So, and I'm going to repeat again. I went into Best Buy the other day, and where all of the old DJI drones used to be, there were, American, presumably American-made drones. I mean, I don't know who exactly manufactured them. And my observation was that they did look, a little bit flimsy. I mean, you can't tell how a drone flies by looking at it. You have to do a test, and I assume that they're airworthy. Well, my problem is that they just didn't seem as sophisticated, as the DJI drones. I mean, none of them had propeller guards, which I think makes them dangerous to fly around your neighborhood. Inflation is up, unemployment is up, and yet tariffs have ruined manufacturing and farming beyond repair. That's true. John Deere had to lay off workers, because of tariff expenses. Ford has incurred $1 billion in costs due to the tariffs. I don't believe that Trump understands the effects of the tariffs. They showed a tariff equation on one of the news channels, and it seemed like you would have to learn a lot about calculus in order to understand the true effect that the tariffs have on the economy. It's very complex. It's multivariable calculus, because the problem is that when America puts tariffs on its foreign imports, then the exporters just ship to other countries that don't have any tariffs. And when other countries, purchase from other countries, America gets left out, and you don't see the jobs creation that Trump and the labor unions claim that you could get from the tariffs. Yes. So yes, economic populism is hurting America. I think it's going to hurt everybody, throughout the world. And the point I'm making, the main gist of this broadcast, is that there is no more DJI equipment available for small-time content creators, thanks to people like Donald Trump and other economic populists. I don't understand, as I say, why there is so much angst in Washington about China spying on us through webcams. They're not going to get any interesting information from this, even if they do spy. Yeah, some people, you think that, preventing me from shooting, clickbait videos at an abandoned diner, it's going to help the economy. That's not really going to help the economy. I mean, what do I think of GoPro cameras? Well, I think that GoPro is an amazing brand, and it does bother me that GoPro is going out of business, it seems. But, you know, I don't believe that the answer to helping GoPro is banning competition. Trump recently invested $10 billion in Intel. Perhaps Donald Trump should invest money in GoPro. I mean, maybe GoPro needs a $10 billion investment. Help them develop patents for drones and manufacturing capacity. Um, yeah, it just seems to me like there's absolutely no purpose. There's nothing to be gained out of forcing people to import Chinese cameras from Canada. That's what people are doing. They're purchasing their drones from Canada. If you look at eBay, you're going to find that a lot of drones are being imported from Canada. I wonder what happens when the drones are fully banned in America. Is it going to be a crime to import any Chinese drone from Canada? You know, I hope it's not, because I think a lot of Americans then will, end up in prison. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for this broadcast. Please subscribe to the channel and watch my videos.